Hi, this is Keith Scott with Marshall Business Solutions. Welcome to our video on our monthly life lesson. Life lessons are mental and or physical benefits that students can get from martial arts training. Now, what we've done at Marshall Business Solutions is we have created both life lesson worksheets and instructor cards for you to use when teaching your students. Now, if you're an Instructor Blueprint member, you're receiving this video. If you are a Marketing Machine level membership or higher, you're receiving this video, and you're also going to get our life lesson worksheet and our 4 weekly instructor cards. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go over the worksheet and the instructor cards. So I'm going to read them word for word, and I'll also explain to you how I would teach it if I was the instructor in class. So I'll go back and forth in between reading and in between actually telling you how to teach it. Here we go. So first of all, I'm going to go over the worksheet. I know it's hard to see on the screen, but the worksheet, what it is it has a quote on there, some stuff for the students to fill out with their mom and or their dad. And the idea is that you're going to give them some type of a reward for filling this out and turning it back in. And this is going to create a system to truly make sure that your students are going to receive these mental and or physical benefits. All right, so our word of the month is called perseverance. So here's our quote. It says, "Perseverance is not a long race. It is many short races, one after another." And this quote is by Walter Elliott. So one more time. Our quote says, "Perseverance is not a long race. It is many short races, one after another." And then this is the part that they fill out. It says, "Most people have already given up on the goals they set at the beginning of the year. Over 50% of people have already given up. Write down the goals you set at the beginning of the year." So there's a blank line for the students to write in the goals that they set. If they weren't one of your students then and they hadn't set any goals, then they should set some goals at this time. And then next it says, "Have obstacles/challenges come up while trying to reach your goals? Yes or no? Are you still trying to reach your goals? Yes or no? Will you give up on trying to reach your goals? Yes or no?" Then it says, "List obstacles you have had in trying to reach current goals or past goals." So we want them to identify with their mom and dad if they've had any obstacles come up when trying to reach their goals. And then it says, "Do you need help in reaching your goals?" So if they need help, then they should get their mom or they should circle it and let their mom or dad know what type of help they need. If you have a big enough reason why you want to persevere, you will not give up. What is your reason to keep going? And then there's lines down below. So if they don't have a really big reason why you're trying to reach something or do something, then what will happen is we tend to all give up on reaching our goal if the adversity is bigger than our goal or bigger than our reward. So we have to make sure that our goal or our reward is bigger than our obstacles. If our obstacles become bigger than the reason we're trying to accomplish our goals, then we'll quit when we're faced with bigger obstacles. So we have to make sure we have big, passionate, emotional reasons why we're trying to reach our goals. So you really have to explain that to your students and make sure that they're really excited and motivated to try to reach those goals. If it's just like, I kind of don't care if I reach it, don't care if I don't reach it, we got to get them out of their comfort zone and create this big desire, this big reason why they're trying to reach their goals. Now down on the bottom there's a second quote. It says, "Never give up, never give up, never give up." And of course that's the famous quote by Winston Churchill when he was addressing the Parliament, and the people of Great Britain, talking about making sure that they don't give up when they were being faced with the raids and the bombings by Germany back in the World War. Then on the bottom there's a place for the student and the parent to sign off when this life lesson worksheet is completed. The idea is to give these out on the first week of the month, and then either the second or the third week of the month, that's when they'll be allowed to turn them back in. And the point of the worksheet is not for you to give them every single bit of information about how to fill the worksheet out. The idea of the worksheet is for it to initiate conversation between the student and the parent and for them to do it at home. Now, we have 4 weekly instructor cards. The idea behind the instructor cards is that you can read these instructor cards right before you go out into class, or you can actually take it out there with you. I don't recommend holding it up in front of you and reading it word for word during class. What you could do is have it laying down flat on a table, and walking by and glancing at it before you talk about it. If you want to read the quote off of it word to word, I think that's appropriate. But I wouldn't just stand up there and word for word read this whole thing. You should look at it, be familiar with it, and just kind of paraphrase it. I'm going to read it word for you because that's the purpose of this video. But when you're teaching class, you don't in any way need to read it word for word. So this is week 1, and again, we've broken this down into 4 weeks. And what we have on these, if you're new to Marshall Business Solutions, we've had a lot of new members join in the last month. It's a record month for us. If you're new to Marshall Business Solutions, then it has a quote, it has some talking points, and then there's a drill. The drills are meant to be very generic regardless of what style of martial arts you teach, because we have people of all styles all across the globe. All right, so I'll read the quote for week 1. Week 1, the quote is always the exact same as the quote at the top of the life lesson worksheet. That way you're only going over one quote when you're giving out the worksheet and going over the lesson for the first week. So again, the same quote as before. It says, "Perseverance is not a long race. It is many short races, one after another." And again, that's Walter Elliott. Now our talking point says, "Set a series of short goals. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step and another and another. Break a big goal down into many small goals. Focus on each small goal to achieve your big goals in life." So those are our talking points. And the point there is that sometimes people get overwhelmed with really big goals. And to persevere and make sure that we're reaching our big goals, we have to break it down into really small goals that equal, just one little step, one after another after another. Now our drill, it says pick a number of a specific type of technique. For example, if you do kicks in your style, then maybe 500 kicks or 1,000 kicks that the students have to accomplish in one class. That's going to seem like a very big, daunting task. But instead, what you're going to do, instead of just saying go, do 500 kicks or 1,000 kicks, you're going to break that goal down, track it throughout the class, how many kicks the class has done. Hey, do 10 front kicks on each side. Wow, that's 20 kicks already. Do this many round kicks and so on. And it's going to keep adding up until they reach that big number of 500 or 1,000 or whatever your goal is. And so by doing that drill and breaking it down into really small, manageable parts, they're going to see how they can break down big goals in their life down into small goals so that they can reach it. And you want to discuss with your task how they thought whenever they were, hit with that big number, 500 kicks or 1,000 kicks or whatever, technique you're doing. It doesn't have to be kicks. But when they were hit with that big number and they thought they couldn't do it, how did they feel after you broke it down and they actually accomplished it? Now, continuing on to week 2, it says, "No man is ever whipped until he quits in his own mind." And this is by the motivational speaker and writer of Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. This is one of the big motivational books that really started it all as far as writing motivational books and inspirational books. So one more time, it says, "No man is ever whipped until he quits in his own mind." And this is by Napoleon Hill. It says, and then our talking point says, make a decision that you will not quit. A big part of succeeding in life is making a decision that you will be a winner. Winners do not quit. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. So the idea there is that a lot of it is just mental. So if you want to persevere in life, you just have to decide that you're not going to give up. You have to decide that you're going to be a winner and that you're not going to be a quitter. So we want to teach our students to have the right mindset to persevere and to not quit. If they let the idea of quitting enter their mind, then they're going to be one step closer to quitting. If they don't let it creep in their mind and they have the mindset of a winner, then they're going to continue on and they're going to persevere. So now we come to our drill. Discuss the mental part of being a winner. Choose a drill that will test your students' mental toughness. So I picked 2 of them. You can do something else if you'd like. One of them is you can do a sitting squat against the wall. So have your students put their back against the wall or back against the cage if you have a cage, and then they're going to hold their hands out in front and they're going to do a sitting squat. So they're just going to bend their knees, try to get the tops of their legs as close to horizontal as they can, and they're just going to sit there. Their legs are going to start burning, they're going to start shaking, they're going to want to give up. So for some students, they may need to sit there for 30 seconds. Other students, it's a minute. Some of your adults, if you have an MMA or a BJJ program where you do a lot of squats and a lot of takedowns, you may even need them to hold weights or have a partner and their partner's pushing down on their shoulders. But regardless of how intense you need to make the drill, at some point their legs need to start shaking. Don't let it creep into their head that they're going to quit. Make sure they have the attitude in the winner and they're pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to not give up. So that's one way to do the drill. Another way to change it up later on in the week is you can have them do the plank position. That's where you're going to go down like you're in push-up position, so you're on your toes, but instead of being on your hands, you'll be on the palm of your hand, and your forearm and your elbow will be holding yourself up, and then you'll be on your toes, and you're just going to stay there again for 30 seconds. It could be a minute, it could be 2 minutes. At some point, your body's going to start shaking, you're going to feel like you're going to give out. And again, you can make it more difficult by taking your students and having them take their elbows and put them in close. Or if you want to make it more difficult, you can have them take their hands and step away from their shoulder a little bit with their hand and their forearm and their elbow. Get it away from their body a little bit, and it'll become exponentially more difficult. And so again, you can just have them do it like that. You can have them do it in tight, or you can have somebody push down and give them some resistance on top of their shoulders. You know, light pressure is going to go a long way to making it extremely more difficult. And so same thing, have them have that attitude that they're not going to quit, they're not going to give up, that they're going to be a winner. Now, week number 3 for perseverance. Our quote says, pay as little attention to discouragement as possible. And I'm going to struggle with this name of the person that did this quote. It's Maltbie. Not sure exactly how to say that. Maltbie, not exactly sure. And the last name is Babcock. And so again, one more time, it says, pay as little attention to discouragement as possible. And our talking point says, ignore those who say you can't. Many people will tell you you can't do something when you're already doing it. It may be jealousy, or it may be because they do not have confidence themselves. So one more time. It says, many people will tell you you cannot do something when you're already doing it. It may be because they're jealous, or it might be because they don't have confidence that they could do it themselves. So too many times, there's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines, not trying to achieve in life, and they're trying to pull down the people that are achieving in life. So you're going to have a lot of doubters, a lot of haters out there. Explain to your students that they don't need to listen to all these people that tell them they can't do something. They need to listen to that little voice inside their head that says they can do it. They need to listen to positive people that think that they can do it, that they are a winner, that they can succeed. So our drill, what you want to do is you want to partner the students up. And what you want to do is you want to have one student being a negative coach. So give your students some kind of a drill. They could be hitting a target. They could just be doing punches and kicks over and over again in the air, like shadow boxing for a certain amount of time. They could be doing push-ups. They could be doing sit-ups. They could be doing squats. Whatever drill you want them to do. It's up to you depending on the age and depending on the belt group. And instead of their partner encouraging them, yeah, you can do it, you can do it, they're going to be being negative. You're a loser. You can't do it. Go ahead and give up. You stink. So they're going to be that negative voice of discouragement. And instead of giving up and listening to them, I don't even want them to look at them. I don't even want them to acknowledge that they're breathing. I don't want them to acknowledge the negativity that's coming out of their partner's mouth.